Here we are. It's buyout season. The Rangers are the first team to announce a buyout. What interests me is, so they're buying out Girardi, and he has a cap hit of 5.5 million. And by buying him out, Girardi counts as 2.6 million on the cap next season, 3.6 for the 2 years after that, and 1.1 million for 3 more years after that. Buyouts are tricky, and you know, I can't blame them for buying out Girardi. I mean, Girardi's the guy who's been taking a lot of public flack for the Ranger blue line for the last few years, and apparently Kevin Klein as well is considering retirement. Um, Klein's, you know, older, and Girardi's older, I guess, in terms of the rest of their line, the rest of their teammates. The thing is, if you lose Klein and you lose Girardi, I know they've added Shea. And I mean, the team's not going to need to protect Klein, so with Girardi out, they protect McDonough, they protect Stahl, they can protect, I guess, Holden now. So for Ranger fans who are all like, yay, but I said Nick Holden would be the most likely to go, now they don't have to worry about it. The Rangers are revamping their blue line, and this move doesn't save them as much cap space as they need to upgrade that blue line. 2.9 million added in cap space is good. It's a start. It makes me wonder if the Rangers have something else going on. Girardi's one of those guys that you'll hear, oh, he's on the trade block. Of course he is. Of course he's on the trade block. And of course nobody's going to want that contract. And it's not Girardi's fault. And again, this is the thing I laugh at, is when a guy's getting paid too much money and fans get angry, they sometimes get angry at the player. Dion Phaneuf being an obvious example. The guy's getting paid X amount of money. At some point, a GM or an owner, or more likely than not both, when it's a big money contract, they both sat down and said, this guy is worth 8, 9, 10 million for us. Presented the contract to the guy, and yeah, maybe he laughed while he was signing the contract, but it's the contract they offered him and he ultimately got. So I don't have a problem with Girardi. I don't have a problem with Klein. Both of them being gone off the Rangers blue line is going to eat into their depth, and I know Rangers fans are going to say, well, Girardi was useless, and Klein's getting older too, so we can just replace them out. It's easy to say that. It is. It's very easy to say, oh, well, we could just replace them. In this market, defensemen have an inflated value when they're good defensemen. Adam Larson being the one that everybody uses as an example, and right now the Canucks have one in Chris Tanev that they want the moon for, and they might get it. Because there's not a lot of teams that have a defenseman, a top 4 defenseman, that they're willing to part with. And for some reason, the Canucks are willing to, and I've discussed that before, and that's for another time. Girardi is not a top 4 defenseman, but I do think that Girardi is going to catch on as a 5-6. I think like Wade Redden at the end of his career. That kind of thing. Brian Berard, after about the 3rd time he'd moved, when the pressure was off and he could just relax and play his game. I think Girardi will be a decent 5-6 option for somebody. I could see the Canucks picking him up. And I say that because with Trampkin deciding not to come back, and with the fact that Hammer moved on to Dallas last year, so you could see Edler being moved out. Girardi would be a veteran guy to mentor the younger defensemen. And as a number 6 guy, it's not a bad thing. It's sort of like, and again, I go back to Phaneuf. His role in Ottawa has been more as a mentor than as the key guy. Because obviously there's this kid named Erik Karlsson who's pretty good. So the expectations on Phaneuf have been lower in Ottawa, which is part of the reason why he doesn't want to waive a no-movement clause and doesn't want to leave Ottawa. But ironically, there's now reports coming out that other members of the Senators are kind of like, wait, what? Mathod apparently is one that had the reaction of, we thought he'd take one for the team, and he's going, no, I think I'll stay here. Somebody else can go. course, the odd thing with that is Vegas isn't touching enough with a 10-foot pole if they can get one of those other young defensemen, and one of them's going to be exposed. So I'm not even sure that I understand it. But getting back to Girardi, he's had an 11-year career as a Ranger. He's been a very good defenseman at certain points in his career, and I think he can get that back in a limited role. I could even see Pittsburgh. Oh, what if Pittsburgh picked him up and regenerated his career? Look what Pittsburgh's done for some of these guys. Hainsey was carrying a cup around the ice a few days ago. Hainsey was kind of left for dead. I remember at the deadline, the Penguins gave up a second-round pick for Hainsey, and people were like, second-round pick for Hainsey? That seems a bit steep for a guy who's not really all that useful anymore. Girardi in Pittsburgh, I could see it. I could definitely see it on a deal that is a bargain. Like I'm talking like $1 million. Maybe even 800,000. I mean, he's getting bought out, so he's getting money right now. But as guys like, I think of Vinny LeCavalier, Ilya Brizgalov, when you're bought out, other teams are still going to want your services. And you might make out really, really well, as Vinny LeCavalier did, bafflingly enough. But I don't think Girardi's going to get that kind of deal. But I think the combination of Klein retiring, which is what he appears to be ready to do, and Girardi being bought out, if you're a Ranger fan, I know Shea's look good, and I know there's some youth coming up, but man, the Rangers are on the verge of a rebuild. So if they trade out Ronta, yeah, they've got some good prospects, but we already know Ronta's good. And prospects, you just never know, especially with goaltenders. It can be a real crapshoot. Up front, they have some good pieces, but now are they going to have to move a piece up front to fill out that blue line that's going to be short on D-men? How much ice time and responsibility are they going to give Brady Shea next year? I know he's good. I watched him this year. I thought he was very good in the games of the Rangers that I watched. But in a second year and still as a young defenseman, it's a lot of responsibility, and the Rangers are a major center. This is a pretty big fan base. It's an original 6 team. It's high profile. About as high profile in the U.S. as you can get outside of a few markets. I know. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure there. And I don't know. What do the Rangers do? So let me know what you think the Rangers are going to do after this move. Something tells me there's something else coming down the pipe here. Which forward do you think they dangle out there to get another defenseman? Not now. After expansion. It looks to me like these moves that are happening, which is Klein's retirement, which he was probably mulling over anyways. The team may have said, look, we're not going to protect you, and he's going, oh, maybe I should just retire. Again, though, I can't see Klein being a guy Vegas would want. I find it really weird that players are stressing on being taken by Vegas, and I think to myself, Vegas wouldn't touch those guys. I've looked at the lists of protected and unprotected, and some of the guys that are saying, oh, I'm not going to Vegas, are guys that I don't even think Big Fee's going to want. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.